Hey guys, welcome to Better Drums, the 10-week Church Drummer Challenge Quarantine Edition, and this is week 8, huh? We're in the home stretch now. For those of you joining again, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for following along through these past, 7 lessons, and now the 8th. If this is your first time to join, you can check out all those other videos on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and what we're doing is working through the ebook, Better Drums, the 10-week Church Drummer Challenge that you can download for free at the website. And you can download it by chapter or the whole book, and it's designed to get the church drummer reading in 10 weeks. Not a bad deal, right? So something that we could be doing now during quarantine to be improving. So this week we're going to start out right away with a fill-in idea. And so we've been taking a fill-in. In the previous weeks, we were working on fill-ins from popular worship songs, and this week it's a fill-in that I went ahead and just made up, and it's combining some of the rhythms that we've learned from, working on snare drum pieces and things like that. So we've got 16th notes, 8th notes, and the triplet here. And so here's what the fill-in would sound like. All right, I'll go ahead and play one bar of time, and then the fill-in idea. Okay, so it's combining the change of the subdivisions, which is something that we've been working on, and hopefully you can play it without too much trouble here. And so what we're going to do now is modify it, much like we've been doing with other fill-ins in the other weeks leading up to now. So the first thing we're going to do is change the sticking. So this is what this one would sound like. So the floor tom there, I used a right, and then for the triplets, I used, instead of an alternating sticking, the single stroke roll, I'm using a right, left. And so I'll go ahead and put that with time as well. Okay, and so by changing the sticking, it frees up or makes possible in an easier way, I guess would be the best way to say that, reaching over different parts of the kit while still maintaining the rhythm that you're intending to play, all right? So the next thing we're going to do is substitute the foot, all right? This one sounds like this. All right, so putting it with time. All right, so I personally like fill-ins that change subdivisions. You have to be careful about using them. You can't use them everywhere in church music, but if you play that idea at the right time, it's really, the perfect thing to do. So now we're on to add to the idea, and so you can see that the 8th notes in the hand are still happening, but on beat 2 there, we're substituting in the foot on the E and the and then we're going to the rhythm that we worked on last week, that 1 triplet, 2 triplet, but spread apart. Okay, and so this one sounds like this. All right, with the groove. All right, and so I just have my toms up there because this is the setup I have now for quarantine here in the Philippines. All right. So then the new thing for this week is moving on to a new meter. So up until now, we've been working with 4/4 time, which is common time. It's most church songs that you run into are going to be in 4/4, but another meter that is probably most common other than 4/4 is going to be 6/8 for modern worship music. 3/4 is not as common as 6/8. I think that's a pretty safe thing to say. So in 6/8, the 8th note gets the beat, and so you can see there are 6 8th notes, and you count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the stress points of the beat, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 in 4/4 time, the stress points are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 4, 1, 4. And so this groove from Great Are You, Lord sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. So be aware of meters, because not everything is in 4/4, and that could be a painful thing to learn in a playing situation if you didn't realize it. So now we're going to go to another one. Another popular song that's in 6/8 here is Good, Good Father. And this is one of the grooves. And notice that there's a hyperlink there. If you click that from the ebook, it takes you to that spot in the song, a YouTube video, and you can hear this groove being played. And this is what this groove sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. All right, so there's another 6/8 groove. And then we'll move on to another popular song that's also in 6/8, Indescribable. And this one is going to use accents and ghost notes, so the snare will have different volumes, and this is what this groove sounds like. All right, and that's a pretty cool groove. I like those ones that start to use ghost notes. That's always fun. And on we go then. So we're on to ostinatos in the foot. So last time we worked on the 8th note, and before that the quarter note in the foot. If you notice today, there's an extra symbol on the bottom of the staff there. That X is the stepped hi-hat. Okay, and it's not the first time we've seen it because we've worked on ostinatos in previous weeks where we were playing something, a groove, and we had to step the hi-hat. But now, getting the most out of your practice involves, as we've been talking about, including the feet in things where you're working with the hands. So here we have a rudiment. You may recognize it from a couple weeks back. That is the drag. And so we can play the drag, but also include foot ostinatos so that we can be working on more than just our hands. So I'm going to turn on a metronome. And remember, metronome, try to use it as much as possible so you're also building your time. So there we are with the metronome, and I'm going to play this for you. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay? So I can be working on the drag and also including my feet in an exercise form like that to get the most out of, maybe a more full body type workout. So now we have the flam, and we're going to be playing that as 8th notes. Remember, the single beam is the 8th note, and it's still that particular ostinato. Put on the click again. 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and so those are some rudiments we've worked on already, and all we're doing now is trying to include foot ostinatos within that. So then another thing that you can do is take the new foot ostinato, which is quarter notes with the bass drum and a stepped hi-hat, and apply it to snare drum pieces we've worked on. And so within the book, there are video links that go to my YouTube channel where you can basically, it's like you're watching me play it, and I'm actually going to play the video so you can see the content, and hopefully you'll take the time to download it and to check it out. It is designed, or it's meant to help everyone out, and I hope that it does accomplish that. So here is using that new ostinato while playing one of the snare drum pieces from the earlier weeks. All right, and so as we move on then, let's go ahead and look at some new grooves and ostinatos that we can work on to build our coordination. So what we've been doing throughout the course of these weeks is we're taking grooves that we already know how to play, and so I've given you some from popular worship songs that you probably know, and of course there are many that I'm sure that you know that are not here. And so today what we have is single-handed 16th notes on the ride, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. And then we have the stepped hi-hat as 8th notes. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And so now we can go back to different grooves and try to apply this new hand ostinato. I'll go ahead and put on the click for this. 3, 4. And then we actually have another one here. All right, so this is a different groove. Go ahead and put the click on again. Oops, there we go. 3, 4, so. Okay. So hopefully those are a challenge. In the end, you do want it to be a challenge because we want growth, right? So we want to find patterns that we don't play well and that we can work on them. And even if you said, well, I might never use that pattern in that way, by mastering it and being able to play it, when you play patterns that are simpler, they're even easier to play because your coordination is kind of on a whole new level, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and put up a hand exercise now. It's going to take up the whole screen, but you'll still hear me talking. So this is the hand exercise for this week, and if you look at it, you can see the single stroke roll for the first bar there. At the second bar is the double stroke roll, back to the single, and then an inverted double stroke roll. And then for the last 4 bars, it switches to a left hand lead. So this is a great exercise to work on and to get comfortable with. All right, so what I'm going to do now is remove that so you can see it. I mean, download the book. You can look at it then through the book as well. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is apply the idea from this week, this Foot Ostonato. 1, 2, 3, here we go. Okay, and so that is that exercise at a moderate tempo there. That's not very fast at all, and with the foot working below it, and then you could loop it. It does have a repeat, so I could go back to the beginning and I could play that for 5 minutes straight or something like that to just work the hands. Focus on the transitions when it goes from one sticking to a different sticking to try to keep it smooth as possible. All right, then of course we have new hand-foot exercise here. And so here we're working with the 8th note triplet again. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, pat doop doop, pat doop doop, pat doop doop. All right, so this one sounds like this. All right, and in this chapter or in this week, you're going to work on different subdivisions going into these rhythms. So quarter note, 8th note triplets, 16th notes, and jumping from hand ideas into that. And in the end, the reason for that is you want to be able to have that facility, that ability, so that when it comes to fill-ins, you're comfortable going from one thing to another without any hiccups, hopefully, right? So we want to become smooth at that. Here's another idea, and still 8th note triplets. This one sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that one starts with the foot on the beat. And it's a different feel. Generally, what I've noticed is, say this one with the foot off the beat, people are either different students are more comfortable with this one, and others are more comfortable with this one. So most likely, one of those two will give you more of a challenge than the other. And of course, this week, what we're going to be doing is ending the week off with another chart. So this chart, you can go to inside the book. There's links where you can go to the Gloryfall website. You can download this track minus drums, so you can play along without the drums. You can listen to it on Spotify and hear how I played it. The interesting thing that I want to point out this week for this drum chart, again, this is a more traditional drum chart. You're reading it from right to left to the next bar, following repeats and things like that. But if you go to that third system down, right, the bottom line there, you'll see the word fill with dashes. And so what this is saying is there's 4 beats in that measure, right? Because we're in 4/4 time. So we have 4 beats there marked by the different dashes, 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's a fill-in that goes across the whole bar there. And so this is saying, so last week we talked about transcribing or notating a fill-in that you like, and you want it note for note. Well, there are fill-ins that you won't really like and you don't really want to learn them note for note, or you don't have time to learn them note for note. But maybe in certain places in the song, you should play the length of the fill-in. Like, so instinctively, I might play a 1-beat fill-in here when really on the track it's calling for a 1 bar, a 4-beat fill-in instead. So by making a chart and using time/slash notation like that, and then writing fill and then the dashes, when you get to that part of the chart, hey, I got to play a 1 bar fill in, so whatever my natural instinct is, I know that that is irrelevant here. I'm going to honor the length of the fill in to build to whatever the part of the section of the song is. So that's kind of the unique thing for this week as far as charts go. So again, if you're having issues or confused about anything, please leave a comment and I'll definitely get to that the next time around. Hope everyone is doing well. Have a great week. Keep on drumming. God bless you.